Good morning. I'm Margaret Liang from VotersAI. Welcome to VotersAI Unfiltered. Today we have the honor of inviting a special guest, Milpitas Mayor Carmen Montano. Carmen, welcome.
Well, thank you, Margaret, for inviting me, and thank you, VotersAI, for having the pleasure for me being here. I'm happy that I'm here.
Certainly. I mean, at VotersAI, we really want to be the connection between the candidates and our community and your constituents. And I know that you have been serving as a mayor for the city of Milpitas. That's wonderful. And you're also running as California State Senate for District 10. How is the campaign coming along?
Well, the campaign is coming along great. People are very, very supportive, and they're very, so some of my goals are public. My number one goal is public safety.
Right.
And because of all the smash and grabs, all the crime wave that's happening, people want someone in Sacramento that takes public safety seriously, and
right.
I'm that candidate, so.
Right. Certainly. I mean, you have already touched on one of the topics that I was going to ask later. But before that, how big is the district?
The district includes close to 8 cities. You have all of Milpitas, all of Fremont, all of Newark, all of Union City, all of Hayward, part of North San Jose, part of Sunnyvale, and Santa Clara.
I get dizzy just listening
it's
to all of it.
area.
You must have gotten a lot of steps in every day campaigning. So for the city, I mean, for this such large district, the demographic is very different, right? You range from blue collars, to tech workers, to, a lot of the business, owners. So what do you see? What are the subject or issues that they care about the most?
Public safety issue that people are passionate about because it affects them personally.
Right.
You have your catalytic converters stolen, you have your packages that come to your front door, all those things, and then you go to the store, let's say Walmart or Walgreens, and everything's locked up, and it takes forever to get a merchandise that you want because. So all those things are having a negative effect on society. Right. So we need to take the bull by the horns, and we need to ensure that there's accountability, because right now the way the laws that the legislators have made in Sacramento, they're not stringent. They're very lax. So for example, there was a law that if someone stole $250 worth of merchandise, they would that's a crime. They would go to jail or get reprimanded. But now the state legislator has raised it to $950. So what's happening is the criminals, the thieves, they're saying, oh, nothing's going to happen to me. So you have this revolving door, and they keep. And it's affecting society as a whole. It's affecting us.
Right.
So those are things that I feel that the state legislature, the majority, has lost touch with the consumer, with the public, because that's affecting everyone. Right.
Whether you're a business owner or you're just a resident, I mean, public safety touches your life.
Exactly.
And it will greatly impact your trust, right, in public service. When this happened, do I actually believe that the government will take action to protect me? Other than public safety, is there any other issues that you from talking to your constituents, you think that, the community member care about?
Well, education is another issue. I'm a retired school teacher, so I was in the trenches.
Right.
My passion is education. I always believe that education holds the key to rid ignorance and poverty. It's the foundation. You have to have a good education to make it in society.
Right.
And if you don't have those skills, by 3rd grade, if you're not reading by 3rd grade level, it's so you get more and more that the children get more and more behind, and it's really hard to catch up. And then they start getting a low self-esteem. They start acting out. And that's why you need to put resources in primary grades, kindergarten through 3rd grade, and literacy. And as a state legislature, this is one of the things that I'm really passionate about. I want to put a literacy program, funding these teachers, so putting more funding in early education, so that way the kids have a fighting chance to make it throughout their educational career.
Right. That is more of, in a way, to level the field.
Exactly.
And, education impacts so many families. So with education and public work, what about business? What do you think about our current state of economy and how do we vitalize, right? I mean, there are people that talked about California exodus, right? People are leaving California because, the state might not be as friendly to, businesses owner and, businesses as a whole. Do you see or do you hear such concern from our voters?
I believe in free enterprise. I believe in it, that the spirit of entrepreneurship with that people coming in with great ideas, because great ideas come from great minds.
Right.
And one of the things about California, we bring in a lot of people that have the brain power to create ideas, and that's what the beauty about California.
Right.
I think the impediment is that I have been witnessing is that there's an exodus with the big corporations because of the taxes.
Right,
I don't feel that we should tax them to where they're like, where it puts so much stress on them being able to make a profit, because business is business. That's this is free enterprise.
Right.
You have to make a profit, but not to not to abuse. And I don't feel that there's been an abusive state. It's mostly the corporations are the ones that they need to. At the same time, they need to have what do they call it? They have to be a good neighbor.
Right.
Because you don't want to bite the hand that feeds you. We don't want to lose jobs.
Right. You want to keep those
there
jobs
has to be a balance.
Right.
That's the key. Keeping a balance. You can't go too far to the, to one side and too far to one. There has to be a balance, and that's where I feel that I think, right, currently they're going too far to the left. That a lot of businesses are saying, hey, wait a minute, this, has to be there's an imbalance here, so they wind up leaving the state, and then we wind up losing jobs.
Exactly.
And that's why we have to make sure that both sides are being equalized.
Right. You wanted to find a balance where they can contribute and they can give back to support the community while still be able to provide the jobs and make their business thrive so that they can continue to support our community.
Exactly, and I think that having that open line of communication with the business community, that way they can contribute in some other ways to make they can contribute in the educational arena.
Right.
To make that playing field.
Right. Yeah, so there are so many different ways of collaborating, right? So I think this is wonderful that you mentioned keeping an open communication is vital in your form of collaboration and finding the best ways, a win-win situation for all key partners.
Stakeholders.
Yeah, stakeholders. Thank you very much. Stakeholders to get involved and to make things work.
Right. We're all stakeholders. You're talking about the public sector, the private sector. That we all have to make sure that we're communicating, having and sharing, because this is a free enterprise country.
Right.
And we don't want to stifle free enterprise, because that's what, competition makes the world go round. That's it.
Right.
It also creates jobs.
Totally. So let's talk a little bit about yourself. You mentioned that you were a teacher for more than 26 years?
27 years, yeah. 27
years. That's a wonderful career, and in California we can certainly have more of those, to teachers, right, to help them or help our children flourish. So in your career as a teacher, what do you see the change in our education system?
In our educational system, there's more students learning online. And one of the problems that I see with that is the students become so dependent on having that laptop or that Chromebook in front of them, 8 hours a day. The average time that a student spends in school is 8 hours. They're in school more than they see their parents. They see their teacher more than they do their parents.
Yeah,
so
I know, as a
teachers
parent.
have a huge influence on a student's life.
Right.
I think we need to not be so dependent on the Chromebooks. We have to have a balance. Again, everything goes back to a balance. You have to have the manual. I mean, first of all, they took away penmanship, cursive writing. They took away spelling. They took away, you know, this other thing, arts and poetry and all things that are really important. We have to have a balance. And I feel that I kind of feel for the new generation because they're on the computer most of the time. And they need to have that manual dexterity. And then it's affecting their eyes, you know? So you have to keep a balance again. Everything is about balance with it.
Certainly, moderation is key, right? And I think, you know, you mentioned about, you know, technology. Obviously, in our world, technology is advancing, you know, in light speed. And, you know, a lot of the students are relying a lot on the technology and sometimes losing the interpersonal connection. As a teacher, do you see that in your school, and what do you think that, you know, what we can do? I'm a parent. I would like to see that the kids spend more time connecting with each other rather than hiding behind their social media. You know, their social world is about clicking that likes. What do you think?
You know, technology is very important. That's just the way it is. However, there are unintended consequences. If you're too much on the computer, if you're too much, it does have some negative side. It does have some side effects. As I mentioned, the vision and
attention span.
And then exactly, and then not being socially inept, and that's where we have to make sure as educators, that we make sure that they have that balance, and parents too. Parents have been socializing because it has to be face to face.
Yes, yes. But technology help us. I mean, you know, for example, it can help a lot of the profession to save their time. Right. Yeah. So let's talk about your campaign. I mean, you of constituents, you know, being out there. I see you going out there to meet with your constituents. What is it? Maybe one story or a most memorable story that you hear from meeting with your constituents?
You know what I think. What I resonate with people. I'm a people person. I'm not arrogant. I'm very humble, if you will. And when people want to meet with me, I meet with them. As a matter of fact, on Mondays, I have a meeting with the mayor because some people want to meet face to face. So I will have that same policy in Sacramento. I'm a down-to-earth person, and I think that's what people like about me, and that's what people, because I listen. I listen to their concerns, and I try to solve it. You know, I find different resources how to resolve or to address their needs. You know, I'm not saying that everything is going to be solved, but at least I look into it. I'm not going to ignore you.
Because you care.
Yes, I do care.
Yes. That's wonderful. But I heard that you also have hidden talent too, right?
Yes, I do.
So you're passionate about something?
You know, you heard of a jack of all trades, right? Well, I'm a Jackie of all trades. I love, you know, I've always been one of the actually my father told me, he was a philosopher. He said, you don't have to know everything, but it's good to know a little bit about it. You don't have to master, you know, everything, but you can learn a little bit about everything, and that makes you a better, well-rounded person in life. So I like to sing. I do poetry. I'm a poet. I love to garden. I love to read. I love to hike. I love nature, and I love people because whatever I can do to help people, I have a passion for helping people. My first job was in a nursing home. I was helping the elderly. That was my very first in high school, in my senior year, helping the elderly in a convalescent home. That was my very first job. And before that, my background is a farming community. My parents were farm workers. And so, you know, I was toiling the land, the earth, with picking crops, you know, helping my grandfather. He owned a little small farm, and so did my parents in the Central Valley. So I love the earth. it's something. I'm deeply rooted and connected to the earth.
Right. Oh, that's wonderful. Yeah, I totally echo the feeling about, people usually say that when you're helping others, they need to show gratitude. But in fact, when helping other people, you get the gratification.
Exactly.
You get the satisfaction that you have done something productive for each other. So that's actually a very gratifying experience. So you say that you also sing, so people call you a singing mayor too, right? So we should go karaoke together,
well, that would
right?
be great. Yeah.
So last question that I have for you is, in your pursuit, to stepping into a higher offices, how do you pivot, right? The role of a mayor for a city is more local. You're dedicated to your constituents within the city. When you move to a state level, your impact, you're representing your constituent in a much larger area, that's one thing. But you also have to take into consideration of people up and down California. How do you keep that balance? You mentioned about balance. How do you keep that balance, representing your constituents at the same time come up with policy that is suitable and feasible and viable for everybody here in California?
Well, when you make the state legislatures, they make laws. We make laws for our own protection and for advancement and for the community. And these laws sometimes have, they have consequences. Right. Like Prop 47.
Right.
When they reduce the threshold for when someone stole something. So now we have unintended consequences when that law was passed. So there were some folks that decided to pass Prop 36 to reverse that because there's so many unintended consequences with Prop 47. It's really that we have state legislators that have that experience in their local because what's happening at the state level, they are taking away our local control. They're passing laws that, okay, you have to have so many houses. It's called the housing element. And then we have a community development corporation that determines that. But see, not one size fits all. You have to also take into consideration how much land does that city have? What is the population? What is, to have the state kind of shove it down our throat, say, hey, you have to build 300,000 homes by this year.
The RENA requirements, right?
So yes, and then if you don't build it, and it's not like we, the cities, are the ones that build it, it's the developers.
Right.
So I know they give incentives to developers, but at the same time, some of those benefits are, for example, reduced parking. So where are these people that when they build, where are they going to park? And then you have, I'll give you a prime example. In the city of Milpitas, Prop 79 passed by the state legislature. That means that at every corridor of transit, even if it's a bus stop, that there could be high density homes. The problem with that takes away our light industrial area, our industrial areas, and in the long term, that brings in more revenues to cities. Because if you build a lot of housing, we have to pay for fire and police. In the long run, it winds up costing us more. So these unintended consequences and having high density near even a bus stop that could be near a neighborhood, it just doesn't make any sense. I really feel that I think the state legislature needs to have common sense. They need to make common sense that
policies,
because in the long run, it's going to take away revenue from the city.
Right. And you mentioned about resources, and I totally echo that. When you have residential, their needs for public service is different. Their need for education is higher. Their need for police and fire is different. Whereas if it is the businesses, their demand is different. Their traffic patterns is different.
The circulation, right?
Yes, and then their demand for school. How am I going to say, the amount of businesses that they bring to the local businesses, like, for example, corporate, they bring more businesses during the day for our local businesses, whereas residents, they usually bring businesses to the local businesses at evening time
Right,
when they
retail,
return.
groceries,
Yes,
restaurants.
yes. You need to have a balance. Again,
Right.
this goes back to the point that you talked about. Everything is about balance.
Right, right. You have to have that common sense. Sometimes
Yes.
sometimes I wonder about the lack of common sense is missing in not everything, but in some of the laws that they implement.
A wide range of demographic, right? Like I mentioned earlier, we have, blue collar workers, we have, educators, we have public servants, we have entrepreneurs, we have big corporates, and how do we find common grounds among those
That's the key.
demographics,
That's
and
the
how do
key.
we find that sweet spot to have a policy that works, and that is viable, feasible, and applicable to all of the constituents.
Right, right.
Right. Great. Well, I think, we are really excited that you are stepping up. You have been a public servant for all this time. Not, community servant, I would say, not public servant, because you started off just serving your community.
My neighborhood, yes.
Yes. They're really, we call it organically grown,
Exactly,
right? Yes.
exactly.
And now that you're going to bring the opinions and the advocate for the issues that local residents really care about to Sacramento, which is wonderful. So best of luck to your campaign.
Thank you.
Yeah, we look forward to hearing the good news.
Thank you. I appreciate that. Thank you very
so
much.
much. All
Thank you for AI for inviting me.
Yes, thank you.
VotersAI.